In today's ever-changing real estate market, ensuring the legitimacy of a home appraiser is crucial to your investment. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer, a seasoned realtor, or an investor, knowing how to effortlessly verify an appraiser's credentials in New Jersey can save you time and money.
So tune in to uncover this crucial step that might just protect your next property deal. Because, look, you might think hiring an appraiser is just a standard check-the-box process, right? But relying on an unlicensed or improperly credentialed appraiser can completely unravel your entire transaction before you even see it coming.
To really highlight the sheer stakes here, you have to understand that federal and state regulations are incredibly strict. For instance, in New Jersey, under Assembly Bill 1243, if an appraisal management company knowingly contracts someone whose license was previously revoked, surrendered, or denied, they have exactly 30 days to get specific approval from the board to do so. The penalties for failing to maintain compliance are severe. We're talking anything from hefty civil penalties to massive transaction delays. Ignorance is simply not an excuse when it comes to compliance.
Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll be covering the high stakes of verification, appraiser licensing requirements, a step-by-step lookup guide, avoiding common search traps, a real-world case study on verifying RFQ credentials, and finally, a summary with some pro tips.
Section 1. The high stakes of verification and why verification matters now more than ever.
So what does a botched appraisal actually do? Well, an inaccurate appraisal from an unlicensed or incompetent appraiser can create a devastating appraisal gap. This is essentially the difference between what a buyer agreed to pay for a home and what the appraiser actually concludes is the fair market value. Lenders absolutely will not approve a loan amount higher than the appraisal. If you end up with an inflated or poorly researched appraisal from someone lacking the proper credentials, it exposes lenders to massive credit risk, and home buyers can literally start off their ownership journey with negative equity. Verifying a license ensures you have a legally competent professional valuing your asset.
Section 2. Appraiser licensing requirements explained. Let's look at the 4 tiers of expertise.
There is a very rigid educational and experience ladder that appraisers must climb in New Jersey. It is definitely not one size fits all. First up, a trainee appraiser needs 75 hours of qualifying education just to get their foot in the door. To move up to a licensed residential appraiser, that jumps to a whopping 158 hours of education, plus a mandatory 1,000 hours of logged experience in no less than 6 months. Then, you step up to the certified residential tier for complex residential properties. Finally, the highest tier is the certified general appraiser, who is qualified to appraise all property types, including massive commercial and industrial sites. You always need to ensure your appraiser holds the correct tier for your specific property type. I mean, you wouldn't want a residential appraiser trying to value a commercial shopping center, right?
Section 3. Step-by-step license lookup guide. Here's how you navigate the official resources. Following these 3 simple steps ensures you're checking both the state's real-time administrative data and the broader federal compliance records. First, you'll navigate to the New Jersey Division of Consumer Affairs, also known as the DCA, right to their My License portal. Second, you input the appraiser's name, or even better, their unique 10-digit license number. And third, you do not stop there. You absolutely must cross-reference those state results with the Federal Appraisal Subcommittee, or ASC, National Registry. Comparing these 2 databases really reveals why that third step is non-negotiable. The New Jersey DCA State Portal gives you an immediate, real-time look at their basic active or inactive status. But the federal ASC National Registry, which gets its data from the state board on a monthly basis, is absolutely crucial for uncovering deeper layers of information. The ASC Registry exposes complete business records, FHA roster eligibility, appraiser qualifications board compliance, and detailed histories of disciplinary actions that might restrict someone from practicing in certain ways. Relying on just one database really only gives you half the picture.
Section 4. Avoiding common search traps. Let's talk about the Adobe Portal trap.
This is hands down the most common error people make. Do not let the words real estate fool you into searching the Adobe Portal, which is the Department of Banking and Insurance. While real estate salespersons and brokers are regulated there, appraisers live in a completely different bureaucratic neighborhood. They are subject to the oversight of the State Real Estate Appraiser Board, which is housed entirely within the Division of Consumer Affairs. If you search for an appraiser in the Adobe system, they simply will not show up, and you might falsely panic and conclude they're unlicensed. So you must always use the DCA portal.
Section 5. Case study on verifying RFQ credentials. Let's look at a real-world application in East Orange. Looking at this document, which is an actual request for qualification submission to the East Orange Parking Authority by an appraiser named John P. Brody, we can see the exact 10-digit credential format used in New Jersey. Notice his license number? 42RG003900. That prefix is absolutely vital. The 42 specifically designates the State Real Estate Appraiser Board. The letters RG designate him as a Certified General Appraiser. If you're hiring someone for a complex commercial valuation, like a parking authority project, you want to see that RG prefix, not an RC prefix, which would mean they are only licensed for residential.
Now, you have to verify not just the license number itself, but also cross-reference it with the extensive continuing education and federal standing required to maintain it. To keep an active RG license, appraisers have to undergo rigorous, ongoing training. This qualifications page shows that this appraiser has decades of continuous education, seminars, and memberships in organizations like the Appraisal Institute. When you look them up in the ASC National Registry, you're verifying that all of these ongoing federal and state education requirements have actually been met in real life.
Section 6. Summary, Tips, and Disclaimer. Let's review our best practices for compliance.
These best practices transition you from just hoping your vendors are compliant to having a bulletproof system. First, avoid that DOB portal trap we talked about. Always use the DCA MyLicense system. Second, decouple those prefixes. Match the license type to your specific property so a residential appraiser isn't doing a commercial job. Third, be sure to account for a 24-hour data latency on the state website. If they just renewed yesterday, it might not show up instantly. Fourth, implement continuous credential monitoring because licenses can be suspended mid-cycle for disciplinary reasons. And finally, a golden rule for New Jersey. Appraiser licenses expire on December 31st of odd-numbered years. If they don't renew by that exact date, their credential instantly reverts to inactive.
While this explainer gives you the ultimate framework to verify these credentials, please keep in mind that regulations and administrative processes do evolve over time. Always consider consulting with legal or real estate professionals for advice on your specific transactions. If you found this step-by-step breakdown helpful, please subscribe for more content that adds value to your real estate ventures and definitely share this with colleagues who might benefit.
I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. Is your real estate team truly verifying their appraisers, or are they just assuming they are licensed? Check your current deals today, because simply assuming someone's license is active and valid for your specific property type could easily be the most expensive mistake you ever make. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.